You've come back to Bellewood. The lanterns are lit, and the fire's glow spills across the tavern floor. Sit closer now. Let the hearth tell you a story.
The fire is warm tonight, but the wind at the tavern door sounds restless, as though someone stands outside, waiting to be let in. Gather round my hearth and you will hear a story, folklore or real, you decide. You see that chair there in the corner? The one that rocks so gently you'd think an old friend had just left it. There's a story about that chair. Some say it's the draft through these tavern walls. Others, they lower their voices and speak of Margaret Hale, who sat there every night waiting for the man she loved, waiting long after the world thought she'd gone. But as with all Bellewood tales, the truth is softer than you might think, and stranger. The Bellewood Tavern had stood for over a century, its beams dark with smoke and time. By day it smelled of cider and tallow candles. By night it hummed with laughter, clinking mugs and the slow warmth of the hearth. But it was the chair in the far corner, simple oak, curved runners worn smooth by countless feet, that drew whispers. It rocked, slowly and gently, though no hand touched it. A few said it was nothing more than the wind, slipping through the tavern walls. Others swore it was her. "That's Margaret's chair," the oldest villagers would murmur. She never left it, then or now. But few knew the full story. Long ago, Margaret Hale had been the innkeeper's daughter. cheerful and practical, with a laugh like wind chimes, and dark hair that tumbled loose by evening. She was often seen carrying cider mugs to guests or tending the tavern garden just beyond the door. Thomas Reddick, a sailor bound to Bellewood's shore by bad luck and bad weather, had come one autumn and never quite left. He would sit by the hearth at night, boots drying by the fire, sketching ships on scraps of paper, while Margaret polished pewter mugs nearby. They spoke little at first, then they spoke often. "You're quiet for a sailor," she teased one night. "And you're too kind for this world," he replied softly. When his orders finally came, they stood together on the Bellewood cliffs, watching the gulls wheel over the gray water. "I'll be back before winter's first frost," Thomas said, brushing her cheek with calloused fingers. "Light a candle for me in the tavern window. I'll see it from the shore when I return." Margaret laughed, though her eyes brimmed with tears. "And if the candle goes out?" "Then light another," he said, "as many as it takes." But winter came and went, and no ship bearing Thomas's name ever reached Bellewood. Still, Margaret waited. Every night, she carried a candle to the tavern and set it in the window. She sat in the oak rocking chair by the hearth, hands folded neatly in her lap, her dark eyes fixed on the door. Guests came and went, fires burned high and low, but Margaret's routine never faltered. "He promised," she told anyone who asked, and Thomas Reddick was not a man to break a promise. But as years passed, people stopped asking. And when Margaret's chair was found empty one quiet morning, the innkeeper covered it with a woolen shawl and said nothing at all. Many years later, a storm swept through Bellewood. The tavern groaned under the weight of wind and rain. As a lone traveler arrived on foot, soaked to the bone. His name was Silas Goodwin. A quiet man with a worn satchel, and a face that seemed carved by grief. The innkeeper offered him a chair by the fire, but Silas's gaze drifted to the corner, where the oak chair rocked gently, though no one sat in it. "That chair taken?" he asked. The innkeeper hesitated. "Not exactly, but folks let it be." That night, as the wind howled outside, Silas thought he saw something. A faint outline in the firelight. A woman. Her hands folded, eyes fixed on the tavern door. When he blinked, she was gone. Each evening, Silas returned to the tavern. And each evening, the chair rocked. At first, he ignored it. Then he began to speak softly to it, his voice low enough that others wouldn't hear. "Did you wait here for him? How long before you gave up?" The chair rocked more slowly, as if listening. On the 7th night, the innkeeper found Silas sitting near the hearth after all the candles had burned low. "You're talking to empty air, sir," the innkeeper said gently. Silas only shook his head. Not empty, just quiet. On the 8th night, the chair was still. And Silas? Some say he left Bellewood, walking into the mist before dawn. Others say he stayed, though no one could ever find him. And a few whisper that if you listen closely by the tavern hearth, you can hear 2 chairs creaking in the corner now, side by side. So if you see that chair rocking gently on a quiet night, don't be afraid. It's only Margaret, waiting still, or perhaps rocking there with the one who finally came for her.